there's no business unless you have a successful team. You know, I know, like I said, for me it's easy to say, but if you rewind, that is what makes your team. You need to make them successful. If they're successful, you become successful yourself.
I'm Stephen Gunnup, salon marketing consultant, serial entrepreneur, and founder. In this series, I sit down with successful salon owners.
If you don't have structure and you don't have a good team, you don't have a business. Honestly, you'll be stuck behind a chair doing 10 clients a day on your own.
Salon Professionals.
There's a lot of dogma in our industry, right? And we do it because that's what I always done. I trained that way because that's how I was trained and that's how I do it. But we don't look at it as like, what's suitable now?
And industry leaders.
If you give up learning, then you've given up hairdressing because it's constantly evolving. And that is the same in business. If you give up learning and seeking out information, then you may as well just give up because your business isn't going to progress. It's going to stay the same.
To focus on the business side of the hair and beauty industry, aiming to inspire all salon professionals to earn a great living doing what they love. Sit back, relax, and get inspired by these business stories. Welcome everybody. This video has been put together for Salon Professionals to be able to discuss some of the successes and challenges that we face as Salon Professionals on a day-to-day basis. Today's topic is how to build a salon team, or the importance of building a salon team that share in the vision of how you would love your salon business to operate. And I've got the pleasure of being joined today with Salv Mule. So Salv, why don't you introduce us a little bit to yourself?
Hi, thanks for that big intro, Stephen. I'm Salv Mule, Director at Academy Salons. We have 5 salons and an education school, all in the Surrey area.
You and I, Salv, we've been discussing for quite a while now on the importance of creating a platform that is going to be dedicated to supporting the business side of our industry. So there's a lot of different platforms out there that support the creative side, the technical side of our industry. But I feel very strongly that there's a bit of a gap there for the business side of what we do, and I'm thrilled to have you as my first guest on today's episode. I've been working with a lot of salon owners that I'm seeing a very common thread happening in a lot of salons at the moment, which is the salon owner coming into work every day and feeling like they're having an uphill battle with their teams on a day-to-day basis, you know? And one of the common themes that I'm doing on a consultancy basis with a lot of salon owners is to find a way of sharing the vision that the salon owners themselves have and how to communicate that into the team, and how the togetherness of the team moving forward is what ultimately leads to successful, profitable, happy working environment where the creatives can both feel like they're creating something worthwhile on a day-by-day basis, but also making a good living from it. So what's been your experience?
That's a really big question.
Yeah.
Let's start. I would say with vision wise, you know, I guess for us we've been established a long time now, so maybe we're a little different part of the journey. But when we started, you know, we sort of shared our vision with our core team. That's sort of how we built our vision into sort of our business, which obviously has worked well for us. You know, our teams are long-standing. You know, we have managers that have been here, you know, from the beginning, 20 years, 17 years, 18 years.
Amazing.
So the belief is in the vision. So, but if we have to sort of rewind a little bit, I would say that we need to, when you sort of pick your team, you know, you really truly have to believe in the vision, and more importantly, your team have to believe in the vision, and sort of that would be the first step, so you don't have that ongoing battle that a lot of salons have. Obviously, with the climate that we're in at the moment, it's easy to sort of let your team, I guess, direct you rather than you direct the team, because there's a lot of frustration out there, there's a lot of shortage of team members, shortage of staff. But as a business point of view, I think you really do need to be focused on the vision that you made when you started the business.
Yeah, obviously that vision sort of evolves and changes as the business progresses. So in this current time right now, like, how are you taking the time with your managers and your team members to actually communicate that vision and to move that vision forward and to plan with them? Like, where are you at the moment?
So, like I said, for us, maybe it's become easy because it's like starting a week on a Monday. We have weekly meetings on a Tuesday with managers, as in one-to-ones every month, also group meetings every 2 weeks. So, and when I say meetings, they're not really meetings, they're more, like you said, vision of where we need to be the following 2 weeks, the following 4 weeks. So communication for me has always been key. So the journey, we're always on track to get to the right place. So we've been doing that consistently now. I know it's difficult, and what a lot of salon owners will probably say, I don't have time because I'm busy.
They're running a full column, they're trying to make the finances of the business work out, they're trying to find a new apprentice to come and help the team.
100%, and that happens. Don't get me wrong, don't think that doesn't happen at Academy. That happens in every salon. So it happens at Academy as well. But I think you still need to rewind and make sure you're in that correct frame of mind, I guess, right from the beginning, at the beginning of every week. You know, we prep, I prep, we prep, you know, we have obviously me sort of directing, we have a regional manager, we have managers, we have salon principals. Everyone's role is different, but we take in consideration anything from a manager to an assistant, what they have in mind for the team and for our group to move it forward successfully.
So let's say, let me sort of ask you a question about, you know, at the moment, you've got very clearly defined roles within the business, and that's, you know, in order to grow like that, you need to have that, a little bit of hierarchy within the salons. But for somebody that's running a single salon location that is caught up on a day-by-day basis, trying to get that vision out, for us, often what we tend to recommend as a first step is to maybe having like daily meetings before the salon opens, 10 minutes before the salon opens, to go, okay, let's look at the columns together. These are where the obstacles are going to come. The apprentices or the juniors or the person that's not busy here is going to have to help out here. Like, how do we anticipate the running of the flow of this? You're like, yes.
I'm smiling because that's something that I guess small salon owners think that big salon groups don't do. And we're not a big salon group, but you know, we only have 5, but we do that every morning. You know, we have a rule at Academy, you come to work at 8:45. From 8:45 the doors don't open until 9 o'clock. From 8:45 till 9 what we do is called a wish list. We print off the day, we go through the whole day with each team member, and try and fix or amend anything that will, one, help the stylist, the assistant, the manager, and more importantly, keep the client happy and to return in 6 weeks. So all of that we do, and it sounds like a lot of work, but once you get into the routine of doing that, it's like getting up and brushing your teeth in the morning. All our girls do it.
So on a single operating salon, then if that structure is in place, then all you're doing by expanding that single salon is basically upgrading that and having more people involved, because at the end of the day, you can't go into every location to do this. But if you didn't have all of those managers in place, and you'd be the person having to do that, then every, you know, or those set structures within the business, they need to be followed.
100%. Right, so if we have example, a manager off. A few weeks ago we had a manager off in our Hersham branch. The Salon principal took over that role for that week. It sounds complicated, but it's simple. Structure is only complicated when you don't put it in action as it's meant to be. So the Salon
where
principal,
there's a lack of consistency in that
course.
structure, and then
Of
everybody
course, 'cause it's
gets a
easy to
little bit
break.
confused.
Exactly. So for us, they'd be confused if they didn't go out the back and see the note sellotaped to the cupboard. So
What do you mean the note?
So what we do, we print off the day sheet. We call notes. They go out into the staff room, just taped on there. So I don't know, Mrs. Smith 9 o'clock, Peter Pan 10 o'clock, so on and so forth. And then what they do with the pen, they make sure that they see what they had done before. You know, we obviously use the system for, well, I would say not fully myself, but they say they use it fully. I'd say at least a 70% capacity where we've seen what's happened before, how long ago they came before, what products we recommended before, so on and so forth. So they can familiarise themselves even before the client walks through the door, which then makes the client feel at ease. So then if we don't have to do any of that with the client there, we can spend more time with the client getting what we need out of her.
I mean, phenomenal, but where are we with, like, how do you get your salon teams to keep notes on their clients and to generate notes? Is this something that's happening, you know, are every member of the team, how do you transition them? Are they passing on that information to the front of house person? I know that you're a big believer, like I am, of having a very strong front of house person in every single one of the locations. I mean, we'll go into that a little bit later, I think. I've worked with many salon owners who think that that position, because it's a non-income generating position in their eyes, it's going to cost the money and they can't afford to have a front of house person there. But let's get back to the I can see in you that but the notes, how important do you feel the notes are?
100% important.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, we don't do things right 100% of the time. But what we do find is that because our vision is created by the team, like I was saying earlier, you know, if, the example, I don't know, one person doesn't do it, the next person or will remind her to do it, or more importantly, do it herself, because if that's not then there in 6 weeks' time, it's actually going to hurt the second person or the first. So the structure, it's like anything, it's like a habit. I think once the habit is embedded, it automatically happens. Don't get me wrong, a crazy day, and you know we've run behind, and you might have missed a few. We're gonna miss a few, you know. But generally speaking, we will have those notes in there. We have recommended products in our system where it's automated. So after a certain amount of time, the client gets a text. So if the client gets a text and they buy the product, the team get rewarded for that. So it's beneficial for the team that they do their job, because they'll lose out on commission if they haven't. So the whole system's sort of set in a little bit of a web. But going back to your sort of one salon owner, I'm guessing he's 90% fully booked behind his own chair.
But the reality, Salv, is, and I know that you've been there, and you've seen this in salons that you're working with, the finances have to come somewhere. There's the stresses of the VAT bills that need to get paid, there's the wages that need to come out there. But there's a treadmill that's happening, right? There's this trend that I see in a lot of salons where the salon owner feels like they're generating all the revenue for the business, and then the revenue that they're generating is supporting everything that's happening around them. And it creates a massive level of frustration. So I don't know if there's anybody, if anybody can relate to this, please click the like button or place a comment, because this is the whole point of us running a platform like this, to try to give that support to be able to circum that level.
Definitely. I think
the profitability comes from that next step after.
I think salon owner can be quite a lonely place. You know, I remember obviously rewinding, you know, many years ago, it can be a lonely place because you are stuck behind the chair, you're doing 10 clients, you know, your so-called teammates that are supposed to be helping you out the back drinking your coffee, so on and so forth. That happens in, you know, in salons, that's just the way it is. But until you step away from the chair, which yes, you do have your VAT bills, yes, you have your product bills, everything's going up every single day, but you're, like you said, you're stuck on that treadmill. At some point you can't come, you need to go from 10 clients to 8 maybe, you know, push some over from 8 maybe, then you become 7. But it has to be a journey that needs to be planned. You can't just all of a sudden say to Mrs. Jones, oh, Paul doesn't do any clients anymore because, you know, he's watched a video and now all of a sudden he's not doing them. You know, it doesn't work like that. You know, everything has to be done in a slow motion way. But what I would say to any salon owner at that level, create a vision board for yourself and your business first, and then join the dots in after. I think, you know, the way the climate is at the moment with the shortage of team members, you know, I know some salon owners don't even interview. They're like, they get an applicant, yet you've got the job.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a good idea, but it really long term or even medium term,
absolute
you know,
waste of time.
Absolutely, because they'll say you'll spend your time, you'll take it away from the chair, you'll be teaching her how to do A or A, B or C. You know, before you know it, they're going to leave you and go and work next door for an extra £10 a day. And that will move on and it will move on. So you have to get people to believe into what you're doing.
So before we're starting to take on new team members and teaching them what the salon ethos is all about. So what about sitting down with the current team and sharing your vision and having a plan with them of how we're going to take the business from where it is right now to making it one of the most successful salons in this area, or the vision that you have. Every salon owner, when they open up the doors of their salon for the first time, they have a vision. There's a process that they've gone through to go from where they were a junior at one stage, gained that level of experience, opened up their business, and they have a vision for that business. And little by little, as you're going through the struggles sometimes of running the business, that vision gets diluted a little bit. So if we're encouraging every single person that is a leader as a salon professional to hit the brakes, have a meeting, talk about the vision, how should that be addressed?
Really important that happens. Really, really important. You know, we have, like I said, our managers meeting, ISP meetings, so on and so forth, even front of house, so we're all on the same page. That then slowly gets diluted into the team. So once a month, every 4 weeks actually, we have a salon team meeting where we speak about the previous 4 weeks, okay? But more importantly, together as a group, we plan the following 4 weeks. And this happens every 4 weeks, without doubt.
So when you're doing those plans,
yeah?
What are you looking at? Like, what are the figures, the absolute key figures? Because some people, they're running it by feel. I feel like... what are the figures that we're looking at?
We keep things really simple. Maybe that's why our systems work. You know, all that we concentrate on is making sure, A, our client is happy and returning within 6 to 8 weeks. Okay.
So the visit frequency?
6 to 8 weeks. Okay. So our goal is 6 weeks. You know, at the moment we're on 8 to 9, just because of coming back through the pandemic's been, you know, but pre-pandemic we were at 6 weeks.
Everybody's experiencing this weird fluctuation of Wednesday afternoons are busy, Friday evenings are 100%. Really quiet. Everybody's feeling it.
So we need to get back into that system somehow. Then what we have a rebooking service that we are saying key on. You know, when my team will sort of watch this, they'll probably be laughing because it's, you know, we aim at 70%, which people think it's crazy, you know, but the point that I say to the team, and now I'm saying it's embedded in sort of our culture, is that if we don't use 70% of rebooking, Okay, when the client phones back in 6 to 8 weeks, which really will be 11 to 12, by the way, and we'll talk about that later,
Yeah, definitely.
is that they're going to be disappointed because they're not going to get an appointment. You know, we have team members that are utilised sort of between 90 and 94%. You know, so when
I remember working with one of your salon managers in Cobham and seeing her book her clients in, and it was absolutely she was so quick on it.
Oh,
it was absolutely
but
ridiculous.
that's because I think the way our structure is, it's now become normal to, and it's not just about, people think, oh yeah, it's just about being greedy. It's not really about being greedy. It's about not wanting the client to be disappointed. It's like booking a restaurant. You phone up a restaurant, oh no, we're fully booked. You think, like, and then you're disappointed, and you've got to find somewhere else. And then also, what we keep saying is that client will find somewhere else.
100%.
Okay, but the problem with that somewhere else is that it's probably going to be as good as you. So once you're out of the system, okay, they're going to forget about Academy, they're going to go to the next person because they're going to be treated just as well. You know, and that's, I think, what the industry really needs to remember, that there are a lot of good hairdressers out there. Lots. So,
and the consumer, the way that I see it, and you know, at core, what our business does is speaks to consumers about attracting them into salons and to create a new client flow of clients. So we have these conversations on a day-by-day basis with hundreds of people. The consumer doesn't really know the difference between an award-winning haircut and a really good haircut. Definitely. And if you can't cut hair, you can't cut a straight line, there's no way you're getting clients back. But there's so many people out there that are good stylists. Not necessarily award-winning, that are going to win British Hairdressing Awards and so on and so forth, but that are going to be able and to understand what the separation is between what the client wants and where the industry professional is. There's always been a gap there, yeah. And this is one of the things that I think that you've been able to fill very well, and that's why you're talking about taking them on even though there's no space in the college. But and do you know how many salon owners that we work with that would love for that to be their problem? Yeah? But it's not the problem because they haven't put an emphasis on the frequency of clients, on the tracking the rebooking rates. They're allowing their customers to rebook whenever they want. So the percentage of clients that they actually need to come through the doors is astronomical, but they don't understand why.
And that, well, you've answered your own question. That is the problem. So if your clients come back, let's say every 6 to 8 weeks, they're going to come 4 or 5 times a year. You know, if they're coming every 18 weeks, they're only going to come 2 or 3 times, aren't they? So, like you said, you just doubled the amount of clients that you need to make your column fully booked. But I think the other thing that we look at is like the average spend of a client. You know, so if she's coming in weekly, she's only giving you £10, then you're wasting that gap for let's say a client that can give you more. And also with that, in return, going back to the team, because it's all about the team really. If you don't have structure and you don't have a good team, you don't have a business. You know, honestly, you'll be stuck behind the chair doing 10 clients a day on your own. Because so, you know, at Academy we do like rewarding, like a lot of salons I sure do. We reward the team
for their successes.
Yeah, for their successes, but not necessarily like you said about doing the best haircut or the best blow dry. Don't get me wrong, that's great. We take it for granted that everyone can do hair, you know, because like you were saying earlier, as long as you're happy with your hair, that's all that matters. If it's 3 inches longer one side than the other, but you like it and you like the hairdresser and they've rebooked you and they've made you happy, you're still going to go back. You know, you're still going to go back. It's as simple as that.
So we're looking at the visit frequency as part of your key business metrics. We're looking at a 70% rebooking rate. What else are we looking at? Total, the average spend.
Average spend
per client.
Yeah.
And
the main thing that we look at is making sure that the client is happy coming back to the salon with the same person. That is key, and they're the only things that we concentrate on. You know, we say get the client to come in more often, okay, spend more money, okay, and that's it. More often, spend more money. That's all you need for the client to be happy. Because if she's doing those two things, she's happy.
Good. So you've instilled this culture into your salon of looking at figures and looking at this. Somebody that's coming onto the team as an outsider, maybe, or maybe somebody who's never actually shared these figures with their team, or not shared with them on a consistent basis, that are just trying to implement a system where they're putting sort of a goal sheet in the staff room to track, and the client saying, well, I've seen 30 clients last week, but my retailing is £0, or I've seen 30 clients and I've rebooked 2 of them. Is that good? Of course it's not. Okay. But how do we assist the team members? What kind of modifications that we need to make and work with them on making? And this is probably where you're saying you need to take 2 clients out of the books for yourself to be able to teach these things.
Like I said, it sounds simple, and in a way it is simple, but to actually physically do it, and maybe it's not as simple for that salon owner, like you said, that's got all the VAT bills and everything that's coming in. But what I would say, you need, as a salon owner or a manager, you need an hour a day of your own time. Okay, not in between clients, not when you're going down the road to get your lunch, an hour a day before or after work to structure that day, to make sure that your team understand why you need that to happen, more importantly, i.e. goes back to the vision, okay? But keeping things simple, where you do have, like we have, simple sheet out the back, goes up once a week. Honestly, it takes about 15 minutes to do. 15 minutes a week to just make the sheet, and you're headed with your retail, your takings, just numbers. Just numbers, so you can focus on success or on what you need to improve. It's not about failure, it's all about success or what you need to improve. I always believe you just fail when you give up. So, you know, I could talk about people where they've really struggled for a certain time, and then all of a sudden they become genius overnight. So it's sort of understanding your team. Also, this day and age, I think the problem is that we have a lot of team members that obviously we think, or I do in particular, and sort of out of the habit of doing it now, think that only academy exists for them. You know, all these guys have a life. You know, they have partners, husbands, wife, mortgages, rents, cars to pay for. So it's more about understanding their lives. So that's why it's really important for me that once a month I have my one-to-one managers meeting, a day after they've had their one-to-ones with their team. So I get fed the team as well. So I understand all my team members, even without speaking to them, because I've had feedback from my managers, what they're going through, what their goals are. But we are a very sort of goal-orientated business now, you know, so.
But I think those goal-orientated businesses is basically something that is an absolute must. It doesn't mean that we're a creative industry, that we don't have those requirements to be goal-driven, to want to lead, to want to have more profit at the end of the month, and there needs to be a progression. There's no point of being stagnant with all of these or losing clients. So with those that are wanting to get on board with utilizing the data that's in their appointment book system, or that are wanting to start doing these targets, where do we start with them? Where would you suggest
I would say you need to start and keep it simple. Honestly, really simple. Concentrate on 2 or 3 things that you decide together with your team. Don't decide yourself. Decide with your team what you want to improve in your business. You know, it's like I said, it's always easy for me now sitting here and you know, everything's in place. Don't get me wrong, it's taken a lot of hours and a lot of late nights, as you well know. That's why you're laughing. But we're there now. But you have to commit that time. You have to commit. But I would say start and keep it simple. Rebooking for me is key. You cannot, run a business without rebooking. You want your repeat business. No, I don't think any business can't work without repeat business.
100%.
Restaurant, you can't, you want people to go back.
Key business metric with us is rebooking. So if you're gonna have one thing to focus on with the team, is
rebooking.
Absolutely getting the rebooking right.
Definitely.
The finances of the business just
the rest will come on its own.
Exactly.
The rest will come on its own.
Yeah.
So rebooking first and frequency. Rebooking and frequency.
We have some salon owners that we work with that are rebooking not for the next appointment, not for the appointment after that, but they're rebooking because the clients know that if they haven't got their 3 or 4 bookings, they won't get in.
No, same.
They won't get in. So, it's all about acting as if. We talked about this a little bit this morning. You act as if even if you're not 95%, 80%, 85% booked up, always have that communication with the clients to say, we need to get you back in, and work as a team with your front of house team. So tell us a little bit, expand now on how you use the front of house position to enable all of this to happen smoothly.
Same again. Front of house, you mentioned earlier, people think it's dead money. If we rewind 15 years, I probably used to think the same. So you have to take that jump. For me, without front of house, you have no business. Honestly, it sounds crazy because you think,
it doesn't sound crazy to me, but
I know some people cutting hair. I'd rather have that in the front of house. Honestly, our front of house is
So what makes the front of house position, and what makes somebody that you take on board a great front of house person?
Okay, so front of house, I think what most people think it is pick up the phone, book the appointment, full stop, have a cup of coffee. Okay, I don't actually care about them picking the phone up. Okay, we might, to be fair, we might even take away picking the phone up from away from the front of house soon. So what front of house is, it's all about looking after our clients. Okay, so it will be from entering the salon to making sure that she's sitting correctly with the client that she's going to be with. We're going to talk about how her past appointment was, how she got on with X, Y, so on and so forth. More importantly, it's about the front of house already planning the client's journey even before she's arrived. Because we have, like I said, the notes in the morning. We already know that Mrs. Smith comes in at every 6 weeks. So the front of house will tell that 6 weeks from today is X. Do you still want the same thing? Blah, 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 and make sure that's in. We'll also remind her that last time she took her products, would she like the same ones, and so on and so forth. Is she having a colour? It's the whole journey that's...
What about the column utilization side of it? There's so much time that we're able to sell in a day. So that front of house manager, front of house person, being able to not squeeze where the stylist can't keep up, but to enable them to move things around correctly.
Our front of houses actually have utilisation targets. Okay, it's not so they do their job properly, it's to incentivise them and remind them that if it's done correctly, everyone's rewarded, i.e. the stylist, i.e. the front of house, i.e. the salon business at the end. So, like I said, it's fairly well oiled, so it works quite well. But utilisation for us,
but imagine somebody that doesn't have anybody on the desk at the moment that is wanting to get to that well-oiled machine.
Okay. Well, I know that very well at the moment because we are short one part-time front of house in one of our salons, and the utilisation in that salon is down 20% at the moment. And more
so
importantly,
the cost of the business,
20% down,
is
20%
astronomical.
20%. More importantly, it's not even the short cost; it's the long cost, because these 20% of people that are trying to book in where they can't because there's 15-minute gap here, half an hour there, 45 there, so on and so forth. That drives me mad, by the way. Okay, it's costing me money, it's costing the stylist money. Oh, why hasn't Mrs. Jones come back? Oh, that's because we couldn't get her in, she's gone down the road. That's why. Why is my retail down? Because she's bought the retail down the road. Oh, I haven't seen Peter for a long time, why is that? Because you couldn't get in. So that becomes a crucial part of, can you afford a front of house? Now ask yourself that same question. If you go 20% down month on month for 4 or 5, well, we're nearly 5 months in now, you know, it's a lot, adds up to a lot of money. But front of house, honestly, is key. And people love front of house. You know, we have, you know, people...
That familiarity.
Our clients tip our front of houses. You know, so it's brilliant.
Yeah. And how do they help you coming back to the actual note taking? Is there, how have you trained the relationship between the team member and the front of house to do rebookings, to translate notes, to put you know, special markers about Miss Smith that's coming in?
Exactly as we said before, we're a big target orientated salon. So we're not a salon for everyone, I've got to say that. You know, if you don't like targets, you don't like, you know, not being successful as in business wise, creative wise, but business wise, you know, it's probably not the right business to work at. You know, we want everyone to be successful financially as well. You know, we want people to hit their targets. We even have like we call it a wow sheet that goes out once a month. You know, last month in particular, we had over 65% of our employees that all achieved target.
On their wow sheet.
On their wow sheet. You know, so that's why I think everyone helps each other. So if the front of house, going back to your question, is helping the stylists are being rewarded financially, okay, but more important, the front of houses too. So the structure's embedded now, so it's easy, but it takes time to do.
Yeah, implementing that kind of change from not happening to happening.
Of course.
But it's so refreshing to hear that if you stick to it and you put the systems in place, that
they will work.
That kind of
and they'll work. You'll notice a transformation really fast. For example, this salon here, we only used to have a 4-day-a-week front of house. Okay, we've changed that now to a 5-week front of house. Okay, that's been educated and understands the journey more than the one before. You know, our rebooking here has grown about 12%, I think, last month. That's just in 1 month. It's only been here 8 weeks. You know, our retail's nearly doubled. And it's not about, people think, oh, retail just extra money, or some people say retail there's no money. It's not about the money. It's about understanding that the whole journey for the client, for her hair to look like it leaves the salon, needs products. And if they don't buy the products in this salon, they will buy them somewhere else. That's just a fact.
More often than not, buy the wrong product, not being able to recreate and so on and so forth. So it's all part of the client journey, and this is something that we've spoken.
And that's what's
endless.
That's what's really crucial is the client journey, the client happiness, the client well-being. You know, that she starts from coming in from that front of house role, and she ends with that. What our front of house does, so 2 days before the appointment, we call the client, confirm that she's got an appointment, if she needs any special requests.
Is she receiving a text message at the same time as the phone call?
Exactly. So she'll receive a phone call and she'll receive a text message. We also then send another text message 24 hours before the appointment, just to reconfirm. We just don't like letting clients down, basically. So it could be, example, it actually happened on Saturday, just gone with one of my ladies. She got an appointment at 11:30, got an 11:30 text, but came at 10:30. So in her head it was 10:30 for whichever reason. So it's about having that, I guess, ammunition that we don't let the client down. But mistakes do happen. So in this case, she came an hour early. So going back to what the front of house does, so we have the call. We also, for all new clients, we text them on the same day of the event to see how their appointment was, but also we follow that up with a telephone call the following day. So 48 hours later, we call all the new clients that obviously come 40 hours.
How are you living with your new colour? How are you living with your
More
new
importantly,
haircuts?
if she was happy, like I say, it goes back to that sort of client journey. You know, did she get what she expected? Is she happy with her hair? More importantly, you know, was the service to her standards?
Yeah.
Is there anything we could change to make her visit better?
Yeah.
You know, and all this feedback gets put into, say, a bin, and then what we go from there is reassess it the following week, and just to improve ongoing.
All goes into the team meetings with
of
the managers,
course,
so they
yes.
can pass on the information
Exactly.
to the team members.
We're really strong with reviews at the moment, which is great, and I think, you know, same again in our climate now, everyone just jumps on a review, don't they? So we make sure that we also send them a text to review us to how the experience was. But this is not just about us, you know, getting 5 stars review, happy days. We're actually more interested in the 3-star reviews. You know, we personally reply to every single review that we get within 72 hours, positive or negative. You know, because we want to make sure that things that we're not doing correctly or to our client standards gets one fixed. More importantly, that they know that we've taken on board what they've said.
Yeah.
So that will be replied by text, or if it needs to, is actually followed by a telephone call. Same again, this is the role of front of house.
Yeah.
Front of house is like the heart of the salon.
Exactly. It's the support mechanism to make sure that the rebookings are correct, to make sure that the clients are happy, to make sure that there's a loop in their amount of bookings that you're getting per year with each.
With each. 100%. And also what we tend to have is that we don't have any hidden agendas at Academy. Everyone knows, from our graduate all the way to, you know, our managers, they all know the same information.
Yeah.
You know, there's the figures go out the back, everyone sees them.
So no more of that old school, keep your
Yeah,
cards close to your chest and don't let anybody...
docket with nothing exists.
Yeah.
Going into sort of talking about appointments and clients, you know,
this is a very hard transition for some salon owners are still
Of course.
running with the cards closed. They don't want to share any figures, any data, any, you know.
It's this day and age, I think it's difficult. Things have to change. You know, you can't do what you were doing 15, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I always say to my team, you can't change the past. You can't change yesterday. Forget about it. Messed up. Forget about it. Just let's talk about tomorrow. You know, tomorrow. Not even today. Today's like nearly finished now. Tomorrow. Preparation for today. It's all about tomorrow, isn't it? So we have that same. That's sort of our agenda at Academy. Is that it's all about tomorrow, making sure. But going back to the appointments in the front of house, is that all our stylists have an app on their phone. They can see that. So it goes back to no hidden agendas. They've got all the information they want on their phone. So if they want to prepare their morning before they get to work, they've got it on their phone. You know, so it's all about preparation.
Yeah.
Just stops you from failing. That's how we see it.
Definitely. And how, so you're, when we're getting new people, I know you have been able to now establish, I was going to say you have got the luxury of having an academy. It's not a luxury, it's something that you've worked hard
It's
towards.
definitely, financially, it's definitely not a luxury.
But you're in a position at the moment where you're able to produce your own new generation coming into the industry, which is fantastic. You know, like it's a definite advantage, but I'm sure that you're not able to fill all the spaces that you need. So we're going to start first with the academy.
Sure.
With the new people that you're bringing into the industry that are talented, yes, you're of course teaching the creative side, you know, the technical side of what's going on, but how are you preparing them for being actual shop floor ready from the time that you're getting them on board?
So we have a little bit of a transition. So yes, teaching them how to cut hair, obviously, but from a young, I'll give you a perfect example. Just last week, first day back from term, all new students, or majority of new students, you know, we start there with a mood board, vision board, goal to set. That's actually run by me. So I run that course twice a year. I do it in September, then we recap in January. You know, so it's embedded from when you're 16. So goes back to the journey. They know their journey from day one. There's no surprises. So I guess we have the luxury that we have systems in place now, so we just pick up the systems and put them in place. But if you don't have the systems, it's a good way to start implementing some, because what I say sort of our head tutors is they're like a blank canvas, aren't they? They don't know anything. They know that they've just come out of school and they're in this big wide world and they're just frightened. So implementing these small bits as you're going along, coming off their own mood board, not yours, because the vision has to be put in after. So you have to really assess their vision. So then what you do is assess their vision. Now, does that fit into our vision? And that's where our choice is. And I'm sure, like I said, some owners will be saying, oh yeah, but we'll just take any assistant because we need an assistant. That's where that's where the beginning of the end starts. Because if their vision is not like your vision, you're already creating a fight, two heads knocking together, and then you're wasting energy on trying to change that person. And as we all know, like, if your mind is set and my mind is set, there's no point fighting. There's no right or wrong, by the way. It's just that their vision's not my vision. Or our vision.
I mean, they'll find a salon that sharing that vision.
Of course.
You know, one of the things that we see on an ongoing basis is that every salon owner has a different vision.
Of course.
So there'll be salon owners that focus on X, Y, and Z, and then for others like you, they're very business orientated. You'll figure, but you need to have a team that share.
You do, but it comes back to starting that team at 16. You know, like I said at the beginning, like, we still have employed 2 people that I know off the top of my head that started here when they were 16. They're now in their 40s. You know, progressing through that. You know, our Isha manager started as a Saturday girl, now runs the Isha branch successfully, amazingly. Don't get me wrong, not without any hurdles, but the journey's been there, and now it's sort of 7 years later, it's paid off. So what I would say is, from the young generation, is making sure that they understand what your vision is, and do they want to be a part of that. You know, I think it's really, really important for us. So that's what happens at the academy.
And so when you're making your selections there from the people that are progressing through the academy, I see how you're making the selection process. But if we're putting ads out on whatever recruitment platform and we're getting people to send in applications, what are you looking for in the people that you're taking on board, and how has that been?
Okay, so if we're talking about 16-17-year-olds.
No, I'm talking more experience.
More experience.
On the, you know, on the
so now we're talking the
stylist level.
That's a big question.
Yeah.
But let's spend some time talking about that. We're really lucky that not often do we have to cater from, I call the outside world, not the academy world, the outside world. The first hurdle that we come to is that they don't like procedures, they don't like rules, they don't like X, Y, all the things that make academy. So I always say to them from day one, like, this is what happens at academy. If you last 6 months, you'll last forever. But the first 6 months are going to be hell for you. Now I'll say to them, let me tell you why it's hell. You come to academy, you need to clock in. You come to academy, you need to clock out. You come to academy, you need to fill in your timesheet. You come to academy, you have your lunch when I say. That's a lot of structure for someone that's just come from the salon next door, that pretty much locked the door when they felt like it and went to lunch. Pretty much, you know, that's not disrespecting the other salons. That's just the way it works for them.
6 o'clock, but there's no clients in,
so
they
go
let the
after.
team like.
And like I said, I'm not saying that's wrong. If it works for their business, happy days. But that wouldn't work at academy. You know, and I had another example a few weeks ago with new lady that started actually last month. So she used to work in the salon, then did some freelance hairdressing. Obviously didn't work out, but we're finding that more and more often now, and started with us part-time, and it was 10 to 6, and she said, "Oh, are we going?" I said, "Not really, because it's still not 6 o'clock." She goes, "But we won't be able to do any clients." I said, "Yeah, you're right, we won't be able to do any clients." But I said, "We've been doing this for 21 years, we know this system works, but if it doesn't work for you, okay, maybe, we're not the right place." About 4 minutes later, a lady walked in and bought products. Had we closed, that lady would have gone to another salon and bought products, and we wouldn't have given them a welcome pack, vouchers, samples, etc., etc. That's why our structure is so regimented. So going back to your original question, having externals, yes, we do take them on, rarely, because I'd say over 80% of our team has come through our system, but only if they come with open-minded and are willing to test our journey.
Yeah.
There's no headbanging with us. If you don't like it, no problem.
So go on, let's again bring it back to somebody who's running a single location salon that has a team of 4 people around them. So they're the 5th individual in the salon. They're now starting to communicate their vision clearly to the rest of their team. In your experience, is there a possibility when they really dedicate to this, applying and implementing their vision, is there a possibility that they might lose one of the team members?
Definitely.
We see
I don't want to say 100%, but yeah, very high possibility.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's just the way it is.
Because you've allowed things to leave early.
It gets out of control. So, and it's like I said, it's not about it being right or wrong. It just gets out of control. So, like I said, the system needs to be tight.
The things that are out of control that we see are leaving early. Telling the front of house or making sure that you've got no clients booked in at the end of the day so that you can leave early. So first it's allowing to leave early, then it's the clients that don't get booked in.
Trust me, with everything that you said, I've seen it all. In at Academy, by the way, not just but you have to put things into place that see that. The only thing is, keeps going back to, if you're a salon owner and you want to implement and fix all these problems, behind the chair is no good. I used to spend time going through the appointment book. This was in my own time, getting home. So my day used to be office all day, get home for about 7, dinner, back on my laptop till midnight. But checking and
But for somebody that is starting this journey, that's probably their starting point.
All
of this verification, book checking, column checking, column utilization. If you're having to cut to actually generate the revenue, you have to cut.
Yeah, it's honestly key that you make sure that the actual data that you're collecting is correct in the first place. We went through a procedure where we did have, funny enough, an external, and her utilisation built really fast without anyone knowing, but we were finding, what you mentioned earlier, that there was always a 5 o'clock client. But funny enough, that 5 o'clock client never turned up. Okay, so obviously me being me, I would go back into the system, find out, we found it very early, but with our booking confirmation, we were finding out that it kept repeating that this client didn't exist. No, I've got no client. Actually, it was a real client, but without a booking, just to make sure that they're rebooking tight. So in a way, I take that as a compliment, because we're so strong at rebooking.
You're giving everybody some good advice there.
But it's true. And you need to spend time. Look, this is for salon owners, for salon managers. Look, we all need to help each other, I think. And that's, I think, the other key thing. This industry it's very competitive. I think if salon owners helped each other more, I think it would be more successful for everyone.
Yeah, because everybody could learn from each other's mistakes.
Definitely.
And help implement
and it's
structures.
Good to share. I think it's good to share. I have a small connection of salon owners that probably communicate once a month, and we're all on the same boat. But it's nice to share, and if you've got a solution to my problem that I can implement, and vice versa, why not? even if the salon's next door, it really makes no difference. Clients will choose their own salons.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so.
Of course. And if we're using this opportunity to talk about the academy and the externals and filling the space and having, you know, your teams well structured. If we're looking at salons, or we're looking at somebody that's coming into the industry that is unsure about whether there's a potential for long-term growth and long-term financial stability within our industry. We're seeing a lot of people moving away from the industry because in the salon that they're operating, maybe they've jumped around 2 or 3 salons or more, and they've not been able to build that financial security that they need for themselves.
I think that does happen.
Because sometimes I go into your Hersham branch and I go into park in the back and I can see some nice cars parked around the back of your salon. So why is it that some of your team members are able to have like really nice mortgages, nice cars? You know, where does that all come from?
I think it comes back from the structure. That, as I was saying earlier, there's no business unless you have a successful team. You know. I know, like I said, for me it's easy to say, but if you rewind, that is what makes your team. You need to make them successful. If they're successful, you become successful yourself. So, and that gives you the gap and the opportunity to implement everything that we're implementing. So, yeah, there is that, hairdressing's not really well paid. But I think that's if you don't have, the correct team, going back to the structure, and 3, implementing rewards. There is obviously a lot of salon owners that probably can't afford to pay their team X. You know, and it is difficult times. Look, we're all having difficult times. But long term, that needs to sort of rewind. So it needs to be that your team are busy and successful, where they can financially have nice cars, have nice mortgages, have nice holidays, etc., and sort of move from there.
One of the things that I'm really keen to achieve with this platform that we're in the process of building, that you know we've been discussing a lot about, is to fill that gap that every salon owner, every team member have seen, where there's a lot fewer people coming into the industry. And on top of the fewer number of people coming into the industry, there's a lot of people that are leaving the industry. And the common theme is, even if people in our industry, they say, I don't sell, I don't care about money, it's the creative that's like fulfilling me, and you know, I hear this all day, every day.
Sure.
But in reality, no matter how much you do something that you love, if it's not fulfilling you financially to be able to pay the bills, put some money away, go on a holiday, have nice things that you feel that you deserve for being so good at doing what you're doing, if you're not having that financial reward, eventually there's going to be a crack there.
Of course. So
we're seeing that there's people from outside the industry not recommending our industry because it's seen as somewhere where you can't, or it's very difficult to earn a good living from. And I am hoping to be able to contribute to bridging that gap. So for you, what have you seen from other people, or from, you know, I know that your team are on a good wage, some people are earning great commissions, and it's all based on their ability to follow the systems, to hit those targets, to make the money so that the business can then reward them financially. So where are we with this point?
Well, I think you're exactly there. It is about making sure that the business makes the right money that can reward the team. You know, I was saying earlier, without the team, you know, there's no business, is there? You know, one person behind the chair just doesn't work. It's impossible. So,
and one person behind the chair that's working their ass off on a day-by-day basis to then be able to pay for everybody else's wages because they're not contributing financial to the business, that's going to break eventually.
Of course.
So without that breaking, how do we fix it before it breaks?
I think rewarding the team for their hard work is a must. From our point of view, it goes back to the beginning where, you know, we've seen their vision, we've seen their goal. Like I was saying earlier, I know what my 16, 17-year-old assistants want to achieve, you know, and then I turn that into, right, you have to do A, B and C to get that reward. And because it's embedded from a young age, I think that comes around. But you are right.
So you're talking with them about where your what you want with your future. What,
from day one.
From day one.
Day one. I said a few.
And day one, whether they're coming in at a senior stylist level, because you have people that are coming in at the stylist level.
We have some, you know, we have some seniors, but when they start with us, as in a level of price list, we always start them as creatives. So they have to work, doesn't matter if they're 40, 50, 60, whatever years old, they have to come through the system. So we always start them at creatives, and then they have to achieve those goals and targets before they become a salon consultant, and so on and forth. And that has all financial differences. So they
have to achieve certain rebooking, certain finances, and you're cutting at X amount, whatever that amount is, and you need to earn that X amount times your wage to go up, and so on and so forth.
So all those things, like I said, are out in the open, so everyone knows them. So you can earn very good money as long as you're doing things correctly. You know, we have, like I said, creatives, we expect them to do 4 clients a day. That's not many, 4 clients a day. You know, salon consultant, 6 clients a day. You know, for us, it's not about getting hundreds of people through the door. Right? For us, it's make sure that our clients that come through the door are looked after and return. You know, but that's a bit like a maths lesson, isn't it? You know that if they come every 6 to 8 weeks instead of 18, you know, you've made more money than they have the other way around. So it's a bit of, and we're always about make sure you look after your regular clients. Of course we've got spaces, everyone's got spaces, haven't they? You know, they'd be lying if they don't have spaces.
Of course.
You know, but for us, it's look after your regular client. Okay? The new clients will come on their own. That's how we base our business on. But going back to financial reward, you can earn as much as you want to earn out of hairdressing. Like I said, people probably think it's easy for me to say now, and I guess in a way it is, but whatever you put into hairdressing comes out a reward. You know, so what I like to see is that the proof's there from my team. I have people that have got mortgages, I've got people, like you said, that have got nice cars, you know, people that are going 3 or 4 holidays a year, you know, and it's not about me really. It's not, I pay the money, but really the client pays the journey. The clients come in, they give us money, it goes in my till, into the bank, into their account. So, and that same, it's embedded now in our structure. So when we say in your consultation, right, we are recommending you a treatment because, we are recommending you retail because, we recommend you come back in 6 weeks because, the team understand that that journey pays for their holiday. If they don't do A, B or C, instead of Barbados, they end up in Butlins. It's quite, and we say that as a joke, but it's actually true. You know, but it's not about taking money for no reason.
Nothing wrong with Butlins.
No, there's nothing wrong with Butlins. No, but I'd rather go to Barbados.
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, so it's really important that they understand that behind that chair. So that's how, but hairdressing's been great for me.
I remember, we were talking about this before, I remember back in 2015 where, I mean, this is my first introduction of like working with a salon owner outside their salon environment, just to literally work on consultations. We took your entire team to Brooklands, that's down the road hotel. You rented out space in there, and all we did all day long with some of our consultants, with you guys, we just worked on consultations all day long. There's no cutting, there's no coloring involved. It's just purely the art of consulting, understanding, digesting what your client wants, and being able to deliver on that expectations, and that's what keeps.
And that's still what we're on. like I said, we've got our own academy. I've not once taught a haircut. That's not my side of business. Now my side of business is about making my team from assistants to managers successful. That's all I do. I do that every day. You know, always at the end of the phone if I'm needed, but it's about making them successful. And like I said, successful in buying a car, successful in paying their rent, successful in blah blah blah.
And allowing the hairdressing or the actual level of service that they're doing, reward them on an ongoing basis for what they're producing, but then also having that financial reward where you can live comfortably doing something that you
honestly, hairdressing is such an easy job. As in, you talk to someone different every day, every hour actually, you know,
depending on your color
or depending on the color, exactly. But you've got a great opportunity even if you're not happy with your 9 till 10 o'clock client, you start again from your 10 to 11. You know, and like I said, forget the past. Always concentrate on moving forward, and maybe that's how the team sort of understand it. But going back, like I said, to the stylist or the salon owner that has 3 or 4 stylists only, and an external comes in, I would still say they really need to be embedded in your vision.
I think that's a lot of information that we've shared together. I mean, the whole point of today was to explain a little bit the importance of running a salon team underneath your vision. Multiple salon owners, like we've said before, everybody has a different vision of how their business should be run, but the importance of communicating that vision with your team is absolutely crucial. So I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you very much for joining us on our first episode today.
It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Good.
Really good.
And from all the information that obviously, if our audience feel like they've gained some or a lot of value from what we've done, if you had one point of advice for somebody starting on that journey, what would it be?
I think there's plenty of points, but I think the main one would say you can't really manage behind a chair doing 10 clients a day. That doesn't mean that tomorrow morning after you've watched this video, you know, you go back and, you know, scrap all your clients and pass them on. But you've got to do things in stages. But maybe if you're doing, you know, 8 clients, you know, maybe lose, you know, 1 a day. Pass one on to another salon member that's, you know, generally building a column or need help or need more clients, and sort of start it that way. But I think it's key that you make time in your column to manage your team and keep sharing your vision. Believe in it.
That's great. If anybody from our audience would like to get in touch with you directly, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Via Instagram on Salv Mule, Salon Director, or via you, Stephen. I don't mind. Anyone that needs a bit of help, you know, free to chat.
Well, we're going to put your contact directly in our show notes down in the description. And obviously from anybody, if you feel like you've gained value from spending a little bit of time, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. We realize that it's quite a long video, this one, but if you feel like you've had value from what we've done together, place a comment down below. What are some of the things that you're challenged with in your business? Maybe we can take some time as a community to help one another and to give some advice. If you feel like you've gained value from what we've done together, please do a thumbs up, like and subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot to sort of see that you guys are basically enjoying the content that we're creating. So thank you very much, and see you on the next episode.
Great, hope to see you again.